Welcome everybody to the playground. KetchXXii playground. Catch 22.
Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm your guy KetchXXii, and thanks for hanging out on the channel today. As always, if you find the content that we have being useful, or maybe you learned something, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to find your way back to the channel, make sure you turn notifications on so you know every time we go live or post new content. Today we're going to be looking at Vanguard, primarily Champion Hills. We had the alpha this weekend. We've really had a chance to dig in, kind of see what's the good, what's the bad, where's it at as a starting point. And I gotta say, man, it kind of looks like Sledgehammer Games has learned all the right lessons from Call of Duty World War II. Following the reveal of Vanguard last week during the Warzone event, and then the extended look at the campaign that we got with the Gamescom opening night live, we've been able to see just how much Sledgehammer has grown as a studio in the last 4 years, and how influential the return of Modern Warfare will prove to be for the future of the franchise. So all of that was on show in the Stalingrad demo. It's a stunning 9 minutes of footage working to showcase what can happen when Call of Duty's given an extra year of development time, which I personally think they should do with every game. Quit trying to put out a game every 2 years or whatever per studio. Take the extra time, invest it, and make a good quality product. I think we're truly going to see that this year in the extra time that they put in. I did personally think that last year's Black Ops Cold War looked a little washed out, but Vanguard appears to have picked up right where Infinity Ward and Modern Warfare left off. So the visual and audio fidelity is out of control. The lighting, the environmental and particle effects, they help to immediately create that foreboding sense of atmosphere. And as for the ever impressive sound scope, well, it's really no surprise that Vanguard's creative director used to hold the position of senior audio director at Sledgehammer. In fact, it looks and sounds like pretty good. That it's almost easy to miss the new and some of the returning Modern Warfare features, like the light platforming mechanics that help Lieutenant Polina Petrova reposition herself during combat, the ability to mount and blind fire weapons, the detailed handling and reload animations, the greater points of interaction with the crumbling environment. But with all that, here's the thing, right? Sledgehammer knows how to make a great looking and sounding game, but by looking at Vanguard from the perspective of 2017's World War II, it's clear that there's far greater issues that the studio needs to address to make its second shot at World War II worth taking note of when November 5th comes. So looking at Champion Hills, how does it work? You have 8 teams of 2, 16 players in a match, multiple rounds where you're rotating. If you die, you lose lives. You carry over to the next round with whatever lives you have remaining. You have 12 to start out with. If you get to the end and you win, that's it. You're the champion of the hill. So in between every 3 matches, you do have bye rounds. Buy rounds are kind of unique. You can run up to the containers. You can see here like a support crate where you have the armor plates, full armor. You can get an extra life, a spy plane, the flame knot, completely overpowered in this example, right? In your next one, you have, depending on what weapons, like if you start with the MP40 or the M1928, you'll have a different variety of weapons that you can pull out of each crate. And that's just going to vary depending on what gun you start with. You do have your equipment, which will give you like your stuns, your basically like Simtex, your throwing knives, things like that. And then you have your perks, where you can get like tracker and ghost and survival training, high alert, different perks like that to go within the game. So it's kind of an interesting concept. I did think when I first started playing it, like, you know, man, I'm not going to be feeling this as much. But the more I played it, the more it grew on me, the more I really did like the game. And I thought it had some good stuff in it, man. There was like, what was the one support thing? Let's see, the V2 rocket. I think I've got it up right now. That V2 rocket's basically like a nuke. But you got to have like 26,000, I think, to get it. Was the cash range, but to get that, you're almost gonna have to have basically a perfect game, and because you only get like $100 for each kill. You can ground loot $500 or $600 in a match. If you get the last kill on a team, that equates to around $1,600. I mean, so you're really going to have to go all in. I had some pretty decent matches, but the most I think I equated was right around 17 or 18,000. And you can't share cash in this game, so you'd have to do that completely on your own. And when you're playing with a partner, that does make it a little tougher, right? So, without further ado, let's get into some things that I noticed when playing. That I feel like Sledgehammer is definitely going to have to work on before launch day, right? So First up, I would say visibility when damaged. If you had a chance to play in the alpha this weekend, you would notice that when somebody's shooting you, your screen not only has the red, bar lighting up and things to show your hit markers, but your whole screen kind of goes blurry. And I think it's just a little overpowering. They're going to have to reduce that down some. You lose sight of who you're looking at in front of you. And if they move or something, you've now lost which direction that they went, just because of the amount of blurriness that's added when you get, a damage or a hit marker or something like that. So they're definitely going to have to tone that down a little bit. I don't think a lot of people can actually play like that, right? Like it's pretty rough. So, number two that I looked at was spawns, right? Like the spawns was out of control. There was times that I would spawn, and when I would spawn into the game, I'd take like a step forward and the guy on the other team would spawn like directly behind me and just run by me. I'm like, oh, there he is. You know what I mean? You get a free kill, easy kill, but the spawns was just all over the place. We know that's always an issue when Modern Warfare or Call of Duty, I should say, launches a new game. So hopefully they figure that out quickly, right? That's why it's an alpha, so they got a chance to work on it. But I really feel like they need to true that up before the actual game starts. The next thing that I saw was map visibility, right? Like they have so much going on in these maps. There's some maps where there was smoke and stuff coming up. The plants, the pots, the fire, the things happening, destructive buildings, and so on and so forth. It makes it really cluttered to an extent, right? And I know what they're going for here, but they just, again, the opacity, they need to turn it down a little bit, and I really think it would truly help some of the visibility in the maps. They just need to unclutter it a little bit. I think they did still go for the traditional feel of the game. I just think they got a little too much in there right now, and that could just be Champion Hills. We'll see what happens in the beta when we get a chance to look at multiplayer and things like that. Could be a totally different game, don't know. But personal opinion, just from what I saw, that's one of the things that they're going to need to adjust. Next was audio adjustments. Like, holy cow, man, like somebody could literally run up and be within 3 feet of you before you even heard them. Normally, last time we complained, we said, what? Footsteps are just too loud. They need to turn them down. Well, now I think they need to turn them up just a notch. Like, you almost can't hear people. It's like people are running around with ghosts and things like that, and they're really going to have to fine tune that. The explosions, the cinematic game sounds are way overbearing. They need to adjust that as well. I went in and adjusted my sound, and they were still coming through just too loud, right? Like I think just overall they need to adjust that before we start tweaking our own individual sounds. So the next thing that I saw was like the nameplate visibility. I don't know if you remember, but in Cold War, like that was a major issue when the game first started. People would stand in the shadows, hide in the corners, and you almost couldn't find them, and they would just, you just get wiped up by them. So I did notice some issues with nameplate visibility, and as you know, with Cold War, that carried into the game and on through season 1, and I really hope that they adjust that real time so that it doesn't carry over when the game launches. It's something they've just got to be aware of. There's no way that they don't know that that's an issue, because it was one, if it wasn't showing up at all, there was a delay when you would actually ADS another player. You could be looking right at him, and about maybe a second, half a second, then the name would pop up. And if you're moving and trying to come around and peek in corners and things like that, you can easily miss someone. So that's definitely something that I feel like they're going to have to adjust. Last thing that I think I noticed was the aim assist through destructible walls. One, the destructible walls, I get it, right? But it's almost like you didn't need FMJ with a destructible wall. Number one, because you can shoot right through them, which is crazy. I still think FMJ should be a priority or a necessity when you have a destructible wall. If you ain't tore the wall up yet, you know what I mean? There should still be some elements there where it's not just like paper and things ripping through it. But I think number two, once you start hitting somebody behind a destructible wall, that aim assist locked on, and you were it would pull. Like, I mean, it was crazy. I do play on PS5, so I know the aim assist on consoles always been they got a strong aim assist, but come on, man, through a wall, like that's kind of crazy. And that's definitely something that they're going to have to adjust. You're going to have people definitely taking advantage of that if they don't fix it. And it's just going to make for a poor gameplay, and people just aren't going to be excited about it when that thing's locking on and kind of pulling the direction that you're moving when you only got hit once. So those are just my things that I kind of witnessed as I was playing through this alpha, and I really think that they're going to have to do some adjusting on. There was some positives as well, right? Like, number one was the lighting. The lighting was phenomenal. Like, I think they did an excellent job watching the shadows, the ray tracing as you moved, your shadow moved, the object you're passing, the shadow changed, the way that the lighting come in, the way that the sun, the overcast look would hit down on it. I mean, I think they did a really good job. The way that there were some flames or explosions and you would see the shadows appearing up on the other objects next to it and things like that. I really think the lighting and the ray tracing, they've knocked it out of the park. If they do the whole game like that, I really think, especially for PC and next gen consoles, you're going to have a really good product on your hands that you got something to be excited about. Map quality, right? I think they did really well on the map. I know I complained earlier about visibility and things like that, but man, let me tell you something. I think the details and the rocks and the ground and the vehicles and the structures and things like that, like I really took time and just died trying to walk up and look at things because I wanted to see how much detail did they put in. But the map quality, 100% perfect, man. I don't really have any complaints when it comes to map quality. The next thing that I looked at was non-traditional lanes, kind of with the traditional feel, right? We always had that traditional left lane, right lane, and middle lane. And then Modern Warfare came out, and all of a sudden we had lanes everywhere, buildings, high rises, steps, windows, doors. Like we always asked for it. Like, we don't want the traditional 3 lanes. And we got it, and then we kind of complained about it, like, this is chaos, like, what's happening, right? But in this one, I think they still went with that non-traditional. You still have splits and Ys and things like that, but just when playing it was still a traditional feel of left lane, right lane, middle lane, and so on and so forth. So I think they did really well on how they kind of blended that and put it in the game and made it feel more traditional while still feeling new at the same time. And then the last thing that I found that was a positive was the weapons. The weapons felt really good. I think they shot well. I think they felt well. I know we all kind of was nervous and was worried because it was that World War II. We didn't want that bolt action and click and taking forever to reload a sniper rifle and things like that. I did have a chance to play with the Car 98. Let me tell you something, that thing felt just as good as it does now. Like it is just solid. And in this game, you can upgrade your weapon while you're playing or during the buy rounds. But you get a preset type of attachments, right? And I think they did that to keep the balancing there. But the guns felt really balanced. It didn't matter what I was playing with. I got outgunned by a different gun, or my gun outgunned, or whatever. But it felt really good and it felt really balanced. And I thought they did a really good job. I hope they figured that out, and it's something that's going to carry over into the game. Because as you remember, also when Cold War launched, it was a sniper fest, man. Like that's what you was playing, and then they took flinch out, and oh my God, like snipers just went crazy. So it's always something in the beginning. I know that was in the alpha. That's their time to test and kind of get a feel for things. So I get why they do it, and it's also to hype the game up, right? But in this one, they left it balanced, and I really thought that it was really good and just felt really well. So, honestly, I got to say that I think I'm excited for Vanguard. I think it's going to be a really good game when it comes out. I don't really have too many complaints at this time. As always, it's an alpha, right? We know they're going to have problems. We know they're going to have things that they got to fix in the game. And again, that's the reason for this, right? Like, I know they closed it today, but they left it open for a few hours while they were doing testing, kind of made everybody aware, hey, you may lag a little bit and things like that. You may have some interruptions. But what I really think they're doing is taking feedback from the community, and they're going in and trying to make sure that that's adjusted, and that they're trying to start balancing it now, right? I think at the end of the day, they know this is our last Hail Mary. We're going to have to knock it out of the park, right? People have screamed about the updates, the bugs, the Warzone, the hacking, the whole 9 yards. They're releasing this game. They're releasing an anti-cheat. And at the end of the day, they know, I think, when they hit the ground running November 5th, there can't be no swings and misses, man. It's got to be a home run, or they have the potential of losing some of their player base to other games. So I think they're really working hard to do this right. I think the extra year of development that they spent on the game was really well worth it. I think they really took the next gen console and pushed it to its max capability. And I think I'm really excited about what's going to come with the game here in the near future. So that's my take on it, man. I thank you for hanging out. As always, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Twitch from 7 to 11 p.m. Make sure you come hang out with us. And as always, man, I'm KetchXXii, and I'm going to catch you on the playground.